Start, yeah, continue.
Good evening, my name is Bridget Snaith and I am the course leader for postgraduate landscape architecture at UEL. Tonight we're doing a short presentation about all of the master's programs that are available within architecture and spatial design. Next slide.
Go professional landscape architecture.
Okay, so the professional landscape architecture programs at UEL offered are the MA for people who already hold an undergraduate degree in landscape architecture, and then two conversion programs, the PG DIP and the MA conversion. Next slide, please. Perfect. The Landscape Institute have accredited the program, and our particular interest is very much in practice-based activity. So the projects that we work on are live projects, and we work with real clients on current issues. And we focus also on making sure that there are plenty of opportunities for networking, and we offer work shadowing placements. In the images, you can see some of the work produced by our studio this year, looking at the climate emergency with the Royal Parks. And on the right-hand side, you can see one of our students during our presentation to the Royal Parks Landscape and Sustainability team. Next slide, please. We offer industry skills that you would need for your job going forward as a landscape architect. We support you in developing your knowledge in technical aspects, planting design and hard materials design, but we also teach you how to work in the current softwares that you'll need, computer aided design, Adobe Suite, in Revit and in Rhino. The program is flexible. You can take different modules part-time, you can move to full-time. In the first year, there are 2 design modules and 2 technical modules. And in the second year, there are 2 design modules, 2 technical modules, and the thesis. If you're on the MA program, you would only take the right-hand side modules. If you're in the PG DIP, you would only take the left-hand side modules. If you're on the conversion course, you would go straight through from the first design module to the thesis over 2 years. But as I've said, the program's flexible and you direct how you want to take it and the pace that you work at. Next slide, please. Our work is also very much like many projects at UEL, focused on social impact. We carry out live projects for various organisations, charities, primary schools. We work with your designs and help you to construct those. We work together as a team on those projects. And we also, as part of working with our live clients, carry out research on their behalf, which they can then use for social benefit. Next slide, please. So the graduates from our program are 100% in employment. They're in landscape architecture practices, they're in urban design, and they're in cities research. And people come to our program from all kinds of different backgrounds. So it doesn't matter if you've previously studied design or art or landscape architecture or English or social science. You can come through our program and become a spatial designer and work in the industry. Find out more, my contact details are on the screen. Thank you very much. Heba, next slide.
Yep, thank you, Heba. We can go into the full screen mode. Good evening, everyone. My name is Isai Bloch. I'm the course leader for the MARC Part 2 course. We can already move into the next slide. So our MARC Part 2 course is a second part of your architectural education, for which you would normally require work which has been done in a relevant environment through design. So you do not need to have an Architecture Part 1 degree in order to be able to join an Architecture Part 2 degree. But it is required that the work that you would be presenting has similar qualities or similar content in terms of the design work that has been established. Our course is organized into 2 different years. In both years, you have the same modules, but the quantity and the depth of work obviously changes through those 2 components or through those 2 years. Every year consists out of 4 different modules, 2 of which we understand as supporting studies, which are technical, environmental, professional, and theory. And then we have 2 modules that are specifically organized around design. Now, in the way that we structure our course, we always ensure that all of the different courses that you're getting always 100% relate to one another and are integrated into one another when it comes to teaching. So what that means is that when studying design, you always need to embed your technical and environmental knowledge in there and in the other way around as well. Have our next slide, please. So just to give you kind of a brief overview of what we, how we teach and what facilities we have. So the teaching occurs like through seminars, one-to-one tutorials, crits, and obviously in the current scenario, we are teaching online from next academic year. We will have a mixed setup between physical teaching as well as online teaching. Our facilities in the university range from very analog to very digital, as you can see on the screen. So we have both woodworking workshops all the way going through digital fabrication, all of which are embedded in the design teaching as well. Next slide, please. Through the year, we organize other types of events such as lecture series, both from current members of staff as well as international invited guests. We have collaborations that relate more towards like the fabrication and how we exhibit in different universities and the other way around as well. We obviously always invite external guests during many events across the year. And through the year as well, we organize competitions with our students, with real clients, in order to prepare you for your future job marketing. Yeah. So just to kind of round up all the the information that was given by the course leaders so far. So all of us are working on a virtual end of year show, which will be online soon on the 4th of August. What this will exist of is a fully immersive environment, walkthrough environment across our existing building with proposals and work by all students and staff. The screen has unfortunately vanished at the moment. So the site is www.virtual.show. And there you will find a large selection of both 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional work distributed through the virtual environment of our school. We would really hope that you all go and have a look. It will start running from the 4th of August onwards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Isaïe. Right, so we've got a few questions. Maybe we can start with you, Isaïe, as you're here, about the portfolio for applying for Part 2 architecture.
Sure.
What would you expect in a portfolio, a typical portfolio?
Yeah.
Thank you, Isaïe. Thank you. Next question is for landscape architecture. Bridget, the question is, what are you planning to do as projects for next year? What will you be working on with the students?
Okay, thanks very much for that, Heba. I'm just going to respond very briefly to the portfolio question before I move on to what we're going to do next year. Because our programme accepts people who don't have a design background, we are in the conversion programme and the PG diploma happy to accept people without a portfolio. The applications are judged on the strength of your personal statement, but we do require portfolios for admission directly into the MA. But in terms of what we're looking at next year, as I briefly mentioned in the presentation, we always aim to work on live projects. And in the coming year, we are currently in discussion with two community organisations relatively close to the UEL campus. One is Peach, which has had some connection to Anna Minton's programme. One of her students was working on a subject around that last term. And the other is the Royal Docks Action Plan, which is a neighbourhood community plan for the Royal Docks area. And both of those organisations are local groups from the community who are looking to develop some form of interaction with local government planning, and we'll be working with those groups to help them with their landscape strategies and potentially looking for some support for local greening improvements. So we'll be working on live projects and strategic projects with those people. And at the same time, in the second term, I'm currently working with Heba on developing links in the Philippines, and we're hoping that by January we'll be also looking to work on emergency resilient landscapes in the Philippines in association with COVID-19 and also issues around climate change and so earthquake and tsunami resilience. So quite complex issues, different kinds of projects, but also working with communities and live clients in that scenario as well. For people who aren't able to make it to those sites, we're going to be looking at using filming as a means to allow people to participate, but also we are going to offer the opportunity to work on briefs for spaces that are close to where you are, which run in parallel to the work that we'll be doing here in London. Thanks.
Perhaps.
One of the questions that I see here in the chat is about the length of every course. Could we all give an answer to words if the program is a full-time, part-time, and how many years of study?
Yeah, so I very briefly touched on this in the presentation, but our course is quite flexible. So you can do the course, the MA or the PG dip in 1 year full-time, and you can do the MA conversion in 2 years full-time. But you can also choose to do a mixture of full-time and part-time. So you could complete the MA conversion mixing full and part-time study in 3 years, or you could go to do just one module per term, which would then take 2 years for the PG dip, 2 years for the masters, and 4 years if you go fully part-time for the MA conversion. What we find is that quite often people take the first year of the conversion part-time in order to keep income, and then try to go full-time for the final year in order to maximise the concentration and make the best effort that they can on their portfolio. But you're also able to take a break from study. So if you feel like you haven't got the funding available or something changes in your life, you can actually take a break for up to 2 years and then return to the programme. So it is incredibly flexible. Izzy, do you want to talk about?
I can. So for the DMR course is 2 years consecutive full-time study. Similarly, as most other courses, we start end of September and we end at the end of May, beginning of June, depending on certain circumstances. There's obviously, like, during the academic year, we have breaks both in Easter as well as around Christmas, New Year. And we usually have 1 week setup where we go with all the students on a unit trip. So that means that we take 1 week kind of academic break altogether to go and visit sites outside of usually outside of the UK. It is mandatory to pass 1 year prior to be able to enter the second year. That being said, so even though it is a full-time course, it is actually still possible to work while studying as well. We recommend that you don't exceed 2 days of work during your studies, because then it becomes rather difficult. But a single day to 2 days of work is usually very combinable with your studies, depending on how you organize yourself, of course. Anna? Do you want to talk about yours?
Yeah. So it's 1 year full time from the beginning of October until mid-September for the full-time course, and 2 years part-time. The 2-year course is very much compatible with working, but not full-time, I would say. But I have had lots of students who work 4 days a week and can do the course part-time, and employers are quite often quite sympathetic to that option. Full-time, you can work part-time, but not more. As Isai said, wouldn't really recommend more than 2 days a week working for the full-time course. Another thing to say that, you know, with the virus situation, because we can teach online to such a large degree, we wouldn't have to require students to be in London. We could be really, really flexible about that, certainly this year.
Thanks, Anna. Thank you all. And there's another question concerning this, you know, the issue of COVID and how programs will be running next year. So if each of you could just brief potential applicants on how your course will be running for next year.
So this is Bridget Snaith about the landscape course again. So our plan is to, with the rest of the university, aim for what's called dual delivery. So we will ideally, as long as the current situation remains stable, we will be offering some teaching in UEL itself, and we will be mainly focusing on the skills-based training and also access to the workshops. So we have materials workshops here, and we like to encourage our students to make use of the facilities to actually build models as part of their understanding of how you might shape space. So we will be making sure that we're introducing people to those, but we're going to have lectures and workshops which will be run from the university campus. They will be available online. Ideally, you'll be able to participate live, but they will also be recorded so that you can participate depending on your time frame. And I know that we've been talking to some applicants who are outside of the UK and who may have issues with travel. The studio-based design work will involve site visits, which will be walking visits to spaces relatively close to the UEL campus, but those will also, as I've said already, be filmed, and the films will either be streamed if we're able to stream them live, but they will be available on the Moodle site, which is the interface where we work with students. So I think that generally covers the way that we're planning to teach. It's going to be a mixture of you're able to access on the internet, you're able to attend the campus, you're able to join us at site visits. We're also going to be visiting great examples of landscapes in London where we can learn different techniques and different information. We'll be working with visiting professionals, and assuming that travel will be possible, we're hoping that we will have a field visit, but it may be that that will take place in second term this time. Claudia, do you want to respond to that?
That's it.
Okay, so Heber, I think we're currently now just come to the end of the amount of time that we have available for this evening. Thanks very much for helping us hosting and sifting through the questions, passing those on. I just like to offer everyone an opportunity to say goodbye. Thank you very much for attending, and we hope we will hear from you. Our contacts are available on the slideshow that you saw earlier on. Okay, that's bye from me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.